the black Christ or the second Adam. The very foundation of our Christian doctrine and faith was erected upon the culture which came down through the ages from the Atlantean civilization, also our system of government and religion. Many devout souls like Enoch and Job walked and talked with God, and their souls were translated to the realm of eternal bliss in the peaceful abode of Amenta, paradise, where they were purified and their spirits were presented blameless before the throne of the God Amon, A-M-O-N, and Amen, A-M-E-N. The word Amon or Amen comes down to us today. The word Amon or Amen originally were the Egyptian and Ethiopian words for God. The doctrine of divine duality was based upon the Egyptian Pharaoh as the father and the heir apparent as the son, the ever-coming king in the person of the prince who was always born to be king. The father was the king of Egypt, and the son was the prince of Ethiopia, which was the birthplace in an earlier time and remained the typical birthplace for the young prince for all time. Messu was the root of the Messiah by nature and by name. The prince of Ethiopia is the Messu, M-E-S-S-U. The Lord's anointed is called the Messiah in Hebrew, Christu in Greek, Christus in Latin, and is Messu in Egyptian. Messu signifies the son or heir apparent, the prince of Ethiopia. Gerald Massey, Ancient Egypt in the Light of the World, page 521, volume 1. The doctrine of the coming Messiah, Jesus Christ as the Son of God, did not originate with the Jews in Palestine, but with the ancient Ethiopians who came down from the last Atlantean culture. The pharaohs of Egypt were more or less selected from the priests, and many of them were very religious. Some of them would baptize their soldiers before going into battle. The most of these pharaohs took their wives from Ethiopia because Ethiopia was to them the holy land where once dwelt the happy pair Adam and Eve. An Egyptian pharaoh who married an Ethiopian wife looked forward to the time that a crown prince would be born who would become the second Adam and would restore the lost paradise and universal brotherhood among the nations of the earth. You find in the history of the 18th dynasty of Egypt the marriage of King Hyams to Queen Nefertiti of Ethiopia. Queen Nefertiti was the spiritual wife of the god Amon. There were many young princesses of the royal house of Ethiopia who dedicated their lives to become the spiritual wives of the god Amon, Amen. But the system was different from that of a Catholic nun. The custom of being the spiritual wife Amon did not destroy their rights or privilege to marry, but the sons born to this union went in the name of the spiritual husband instead of the real father. I am told in some parts of Africa today, the children go into the name of their mothers. You will notice in this history of Ahams and Queen Nefertiti that their first son was named Amon-Nephis. The first, there were 4 kings of the 18th dynasty known as Amon-Nephis, which came in succession to the throne. The sons of God referred to in our Bible in the book of Genesis does not mean that they were spiritual beings as some theologian would term them, but they were princes, kings, or men of royal blood. Moses married an Ethiopian princess whose father, Jethro, was a priest king, while some Jewish Talmudic writers say that Moses' wife was a woman of Ethiopia. The Jews as a nation took the idea of their religion from the Egyptians, who in turn got theirs from Ethiopia, the mother country of Egypt. All the nations of the ancient East looked for a second Adam. They expected him to come from Ethiopia or of an Ethiopian lineage. David, in his book of Psalms 87, verse 4 says, I make mention of Rahab and Babylon to them that know me. Behold, Philistia and Tyre with Ethiopia. This man was born there. Daniel 7, verse 9 speaks of him as the Ancient of Days, and the hair on his head was like pure wool. The coming of the Mesu, M-E-S-S-U, the Messiah, as a colonial god was believed by the Greeks during the period when Homer sung his Iliad. He says, Jove to the solemn banquet gone, beyond the sea on the Ethiopian shore. He thought it not disdain to grace, and dine with Ethiopians' blameless race. Whether in the name Jehovah, Jupiter, Jove, or Jesus, the nations of the ancient expected the coming Messiah. The Ethiopian line of Christ, the ancestors of Jesus Christ, were of the Ethiopian race according to Josephus, which says that Canaan, the fourth son of Ham, inhabited the country now called Judea, and called it from his name Canaan, and that Ragmus and son of Canaan had two sons, one of which was Judas, and his descendants were called Judean, a nation of western Ethiopians. The name Judean, in short, the term is Judeans or Jews. The Hamite and Semites were one and the same people. The Jews were a direct branch of the Ethiopian race. King Solomon was a black man. He was the son of David by a Canaanitish woman. He speaks of himself in the Songs of Solomon. I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem. Look not upon me because I am black, because the sun hath both looked upon me. Songs of Solomon 5, verse 6. From the direct lineage of David comes the Ancient of Days, the Christ, the second man. This Atlantean system of government, with its vast realm of states stretched to the four corners of the earth, each state remained its separate unit, but existed as a subordinate power, like the states in our union. But in the Atlantean states, subordinate rulers bore the title of kings instead of governor, and the chief ruler bore the title of king of kings. This system of government is still practiced in Ethiopia. That is why Haile Selassie is called King of Kings. Ethiopia today is only a fragmental survival of the old Atlantean culture. Christian ideals are built on the culture of the Atlantis, a culture which has ever worked and toiled and longed for the restoration of the lost paradise. It has been the dream of prophets, statesmen, and kings. Wilson's League of Nations, One World, Roosevelt Churchill's Atlantic Charter. These men may have had some selfish objective, yet deep in their hearts, souls, and minds they look for a better world, wherein dwelleth righteousness and peace. The world most anxiously awaits the coming of the Messiah, the Christ, which is the second Adam, when Jesus shall reign wherever sun does his successive journey run. His empire stretched from shore to shore, till moon shall wane and wax no more. From north to south the princes meet, and pay their homage at his feet. And western empires own my Lord, and savage tribes attend his word.